Using a different type of tooling called a hollow die, the technician uses a lifting fixture magnet. This tool allows the technician to attach the hollow die to a chain hoist for moving to the bench. Often these dies weigh up to a few hundred pounds, making the chain hoist a valuable production tool. The technician identifies the hollow die's keyway slot. Pries Enterprises 9-inch press assembly rings are double keyed, meaning that they have keyway slots at the top and bottom of the ring. It is critical to know which is the top and which is the bottom for production orientation to be correct. The chain hoist clip connects to the top. With both the assembly ring top and the hollow die keyway slots identified, the technician lines the hollow die keyway slot up with the bottom keyway of the ring. The hollow die keyway should always align to the bottom of the ring unless otherwise instructed. With the hollow die inserted into the ring, the lifting fixture magnet can be removed and a keyway inserted into the bottom keyway slot. Most times, if the keyway and hollow dies are in the proper condition, the keyway should drop in without any excessive force required. But if not, a few gentle taps with the hammer should help fully seat the hollow die and keyway. Sledgehammering the keyway should never be required. If a keyway doesn't want to cooperate, remove the keyway and notify die repair to inspect the hollow die and keyway. Excessive force can cause the keyway to become jammed and damaged. With the hollow die assembly completed, the technician again marks the die number and copy number on the exterior of the ring. It is important to note that the die number and copy number are engraved on the side of the hollow die, but if the die is already installed, the numbers are also marked on the home exit side of the die. Before the die stack can be moved on, the technician must clear the stack. This is a process of visually examining the stack's alignment to confirm the stack is ready to properly produce extruded metals. Spinning the assembly, the technician observes the die stack through the reverse orientation. Looking through the entry side, the technician looks to see the shape of the die and identify the control pocket and bearing. With the chain hoist connected and the stack clear, the technician uses a remote to maneuver the die stack to the oven where the die stack is heated to a set temperature that prepares the metal dies for production. Depending on the amount of time required to heat the die stack to temperature, may require multiple technicians to work with the same die. Because of die heating cycles sometimes overlapping work shifts, it is required that the die stack be re-examined coming out of the oven. This second round of clearing the stack serves as a double check to confirm the die stack has been properly set up and assembled. Again, this is especially important if the technician pulling the die stack out of the oven was not the same technician who assembled the die stack before being placed in the oven. After clearing the stack a second time, the assembly is ready to be paired with a second large ring called the bolster. The bolster helps control the freshly extruded metals exit the press onto the rollers. Because the bolster is in contact with the metals, it, like the die stack, must be heated to a set temperature, typically around 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Keeping the bolster at a constant temperature will help prolong the life of the bolster. With both the die stack and bolster connected to the chain hoist, the technician is now ready to move the assembly set to the press's saddle. As the assembly approaches the saddle, it is important to note the backstop and keying bar in the saddle. The entry side of the die stack has a step edge that aligns with the backstop for proper seating. The keying bar in the bottom of the saddle also helps seat the die stack assembly and prevents any of the parts from spinning during the production run. The technician lowers the assembly into the saddle and double checks the assembly is slid fully back into the backstop. The technician now has two final and crucial tests before deploying the die stack assembly into the press. The two most important elements to check prior to operation are temperature and clearance. With the chain hoist removed, the technician performs a third and final clearance check of the assembly. The stack is cleared once again from the entry side and the exit side. Following this, the technician must check the temperature of the bolster and the die to prevent damage to the assembly. If the assembly is not at temperature, these materials must be reheated before being deployed for operation.